Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Scoop, your go-to resource to cut through all the noise surrounding Juventus's transfer market and get a little dose of truth to what's really happening behind the scenes. My name is Zach, and of course, I'm joined by Frederic, from whom we get our inside information. My man, Frey, how are you?
What's up, guys? Thanks, Zach. I'm good. Hectic. Last few days of Mercato, a lot of things happening, a lot of chaos, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, the chaos is not simply the heartburn I have from getting tacos at the Stew Taco stand just down the street, and it is killing me right now. No, it's just the predictable end of market chaos, right? The offloading, the potential additions, Kessie most notably, and we will bring you all of that after we catch up on our Scoop reviews. For folks new to the Scoop review is where we go player by player from folks we've brought in. Obviously, we brought in a lot of players, and we have not done any Scoop reviews, so it's time to catch up. We're going to start with that. And before we jump into that, I do quickly want to just talk about what's been going on both with Juventus and with Turin Giants, because there's a lot happening and there's a lot that's going to happen. As somebody already says, Itzik in the chat, we will be rolling out the beta version of Turin Giants Discord on September 1st. We will have a Scoop episode at minimum to discuss Carnevale's performance in this summer market, but also to officially announce and roll out and invite you all into our Turin Giants Discord beta version. And really importantly, during that episode, we need y'all to vote on which logo of the Scoop we should use moving forward. Sort of the original one or the one with the ice cream scoop. So that's already on the books. We already had the sort of the maiden voyage of version 2 of After Hours yesterday. That was really fun. A lot of people tuned into that, and I appreciate y'all. Many of you who are here today who did as well. We've got the Europa League matches coming out at the end of the week. We've got the post-match episode that we're going to be doing at the end of this week. So a lot of stuff going on, folks. We'll do our best to keep you informed, having episodes throughout all of it. So stay tuned from Turin Giants side as well over the course of the next several days, where we could have no short of 2, 3, maybe 4 episodes from us. Frederic, did I miss anything?
No, that was very amazingly even after all those tacos.
Dude.
It covered the whole load. Amazing.
Right here, it is burning. It is burning. I should have taken a Tums or some sort of antacid. Regardless, the show must go on. And it is a show because we are live on YouTube, and we already have a lot of our good friends in the chat. And the most recent comments from Nicholas, who says, "Good morning." I know for Frederic, it's already good night. So we haven't done this actually in a long time. So folks, post where you're listening from, what country you're listening from. We always love, I love to see just sort of the global community that we have here at Turin Giants. So if you don't mind, you can throw it in the chat as Frederic knocks over his mic, and I get to say hi to all of you. Unholy Fun, DR1S, Cameron AC, Ozymandias, Christian, UV694, Laptop, Azaru, Juventus Turin, Itzik, who I said, Alex Boston, Stavros, Omasidio, let's see, Dragon, Cosmic, Vesterman, wow, Il Capitano,
Chile.
Rashid.
We have somebody from Chile.
Yeah, Mandragora from Chile, Bianconeri, Assam. Wow, Pentaricchio. So we got England, we got Costa Rica, we got Chile, we got Greece, we got southeastern USA, which is I guess a region of a country. Canada, Finland, Lithuania, Denmark, New York City, US, Sweden,
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Did I miss that one? Oh, yeah, they're still coming. Oh, they're still coming in Belgium. That's over in your neck of the woods. Chicago, Australia, Bangladesh. Hey, that's awesome. Poland, and we're going to talk about one of your compatriots here in a second. It looks Canada, Armenia, Gothenburg, is that Sweden?
Sweden, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In Australia, wow. Um, y'all, I love to see this because it truly shows all of us, whether be in the Turn Giants bid or whether we're on another episode or whatever, just how global not only Juventus's reach is, but how our community is, and that makes me feel really cool. That's part of the reason why I'm
Yeah.
so excited about this Discord. Is we only get to really interact with each other within these small little windows that we do these episodes. And let's be honest, Frederic, we're sometimes sort of just throw them out there ad hoc as opposed to having sort of a routine schedule. The Discord
Yep.
allow us to interact, I think, much more throughout the day and more real time when events happen, whether it be
Yeah.
Yildiz injury or transfers or game stuff or nonsense comments from Spalletti and whatever. Because I think it makes the world feel small when we're all able to interact together. A few more. We got
Yeah.
England, Toronto, Canada, Bosnia, um, Albania again. Alex says we're international superstars. We're honestly we think you guys we've referenced the Turn Giants chat. We reference you guys as our community and
Yeah.
our family. So not
We're
superstars.
we're regular
All
superstars, not international
we're all just all the same here to love and share our love, passion, and sometimes frustration with surrounding Juventus. All right. Like I said, we're going to get into first and foremost our scoop reviews. We got sort of an expedited version of it just to kind of get through the list while doing still the analysis, and then we're going to get into more of an open discussion about what the state of the market, because we've actually had a lot of business done to date, and there's just a few specific targeted actions and targeted players, both potentially incoming and outgoing, that we're targeting, and so we felt it'd be easier to do an open dialogue as opposed to going through the traditional slides that many of y'all are used to. So that's what that's going to look like after the scoop reviews. And with that, let's get into it. Let's put this bad boy up on screen and let's move on. So again, if you're new to the scoop review, it is our review of every single player we've brought in. If you are not new to the scoop reviews, this chart will look new because we've never done it this way. This is an expedited format of it. But essentially what we do is we take a look at the ability of a player and the finances related to that player's acquisition, both any transfer fee as well as their salary, grading them on a score from 0 to 5 to give them an overall score of however many ice cream scoops out of 5, where 5 out of 5 ice cream scoops is the highest score you can get.
Yeah. Which will be determined by our super scientific ice cream algorithm, not
absolutely.
by us in any way, shape, or form. It's the algorithm that we stole from Mr. Kamoli. That will
fully objective. In fact, most AI models are built on our super scientific algorithmic ice cream. So you have us to blame for all of the AI nonsense going out into the world. It was that powerful. All right, so let's get into it. Kolomwani, 3 out of 5 ice cream scoops on ability, and this is the bit I'll take. And I think when you look at his profile, you not only look at the ability he has, but also I guess relative to the folks around him. Unfortunately, we're in those circumstances where we have to compare that because we've been so starved of a player in that position that produced routinely. Kolomwani, I think, does literally everything better than Dusan Vlahovic. He holds the ball up better. He moves a lot better around the pitch. He presses better. He runs into the channel with more pace. He, as we saw, also misses good chances. But overall, because he does everything that Dusan did, and who was our leading scorer at the striker position, despite being a pariah all of last season, I gave him a 3. I think he has not shown anything last season to warrant anything higher than what I refer to as a general average score, and frankly has a lot to prove to himself, his team, and the fan base after the season that he had last year. But I didn't think his overall skill set and certainly the contribution he provided us the season before last would warrant anything lower than a 3, from my opinion. And with that, I'll hand it over to Frederic to talk the finances.
I thought the finances were a bit disappointing in the sense that we paid 38 million out straight, which wasn't in the cards. That was changed last minute due to
Hmm.
PSG because we had a whole different setup plan for that, which inevitably impacted our further state of the mercato. Because if you could save that money and get a player on loan, you have an agreement, and then you're forced to break the bank, and it was 38 million outright and bonuses up to 12 million. um and from what I can tell, or from what people tell me, is that these bonuses won't be that difficult. There's going to be bonuses kind of like we saw with Openda, within the first 10 spots of Serie A, him having X amount of starting positions, of scoring that amount of goals. Not that super difficult. Um, so there's a big chance that next summer we'll have to shed out the bonus for him as well.
Did you just say?
Um,
Did you just say shit out the bonus?
shed.
Okay, I was going to
Is
say.
that not a term?
Well, I thought you said shit out the bonus, and I'm just like
I
that
hope
would.
we can shed out the bonus and make it a lot more easier, because it's still 12 million if we have to pay it. And I think everybody knows my feelings about Kolomwani. I don't have anything against him. I just don't think he's the type of striker we need at this point. Um, but let's see what happens come February, March. I think then we can all see if it was worth it. If that's not the case, then it's going to be a bit difficult, because I think he's too old to sell for a handsome fee. So we'll see. We'll see
I
what
think
happens.
um, Juve since '94 said that. Wow, that's looking like a really bad deal. Well, that's why Frederic gave it 1 out of 5. One being the lowest score possible on the finances. So we put our 3-in-1 in the super scientific algorithmic ice cream maker to get our final score. And for Kolomwani, we gave it, because we are sophisticated adult humans, 3 out of 5 scoops. And the reason we did that, and not balancing out just 1 plus 3 divided by 2, is because we weighted the needs of the team um, more so than anything. This team is, as I said, is starved of a striker. We still have David on the roster who did not do him much favors. We offloaded Openda the same window we bought him for 42, 43 million euro. We can't bring in another striker without, say, David leaving. And this team desperately needs Randall Colomani to perform like he did a couple seasons ago. And so I think, considering the need of the team, the market that existed, um, which it was really unfortunate. You saw what Parma wanting 30 million for Pellegrino before selling him for 20 to somebody else. I mean, it was really tough for Juventus. We give this a 3 considering the circumstances, but I think we both agree, Frederic, that Colomani has a lot to prove.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He'll have a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and I hope he can pull through for our sake and his.
Yep. All right, let's move on to Karim Alebegovic. Ability 3. I love the potential of this kid. Young kid. He has the ability to move into the middle of the field, I think, way more comfortably than Yildiz does. A player who many folks have wanted to see him play more in the 10 position. I think Alebegovic really has the innate qualities and innate inclinations in his play to move into the center of the pitch. He's 2-footed. He can dribble. He's got pace. He's also not frail in the terms of like a Chico or a Zagrova type player. He, like Yildiz, has a strong frame on him despite being only 18 years of age. I think when you combine all of these, his ability of being only a 3 is simply a product of his age and the fact that he's still developing. I think he really has the potential to be a 5 out of 5 scoop ability player, and I'm really hoping to see him grow over the course of this season to reach that potential.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Somebody with a lot of potential. Pricing not that bad if you compare to other people, and if you see what they spend over in the UK for mediocre players, then it's safe to say we got a good bargain on him. Let's just hope he comes good in that respect.
Yeah, that's one thing I agree. He wasn't cheap by any means, but when you look at the market for a guy who has his level of potential, I think the fact that he's played meaningful minutes, productive minutes at a senior level, and and I'm specifically sort of contrasting him with Ekator a little bit when I say that, who scored and plays regularly for his national team. I think that ultimately we got him probably as cheaply as we could have, Frederic.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I agree. One of the signings that we didn't see coming. We know that Masara was a big fan, but I didn't see this one coming, and I think nobody did. This was clearly a Masara signing.
Hmm. The chat seems to love him. Juve since '94. Surprised also at how much we got him for. Skippy and Azaru both said straight 5 out of 5 scoops. We didn't give him a 5, Frederic. We gave him a 4.
Our algorithm gave him a 4.
Yes, the algorithm that we do not control in any way, shape, or form gave it a 4. Why? Why do you think it gave him a 4, Frederic?
Well, he still has a lot to prove in the sense that Serie A is difficult for a lot of people who even, you can't take testament over their quality or what they can do, but they still need to adapt in some way, shape, or form. So we need to see how that will work out. Also, I think Ale Begovic is somebody who needs to have the trust of not only the team but also of the trainer. And we never know how it's going to turn out with Spalletti. If he gives him that trust that Albegovic needs and gives him time to grow, then we could for sure see a 5 out of 5 in terms of scoops, or our algorithm could. But it's still to see how he adapts not only to the squad but Serie A as a whole.
Hmm. I agree 100%. Il Capitano says that he has Dushan level arrogance, Dushan arrogance level of trust in Ale Begovic. It sounds really strange, but the yield is injury, which I don't think anyone's happy about. Could very well be for Ale Begovic specifically a blessing in disguise to give him the opportunity to play, to release some pressure from his shoulders, to say, "Hey, you're playing because of an injury. Go out there and show us what you got, kid." And that could really be the catalyst for him developing. I was a little concerned that he wasn't going to get a ton of minutes early in the season, sort of assuming Spalletti would take him along slowly. Well, that's probably going to change, hopefully for the better. All right, Lukumi. So Lukumi, we have really high marks, ability. I mean, you're talking about a physical lockdown defender who can pass. I think for the most part, he is the complete package. The only reason I gave him 4 instead of 5 is I do not think Lukumi is world class. I think he is really good across the board. And that to me is a 4 out of 5 player. I think for where Juventus is, and for what we need on the team, he is the perfect fit. And for those quick reasons, and we've all seen him play, being that he's from Serie A, I gave him 4 out of 5 on ability.
Yeah, in terms of finance, I think we did a really good deal. Worst case scenario, it's going to be 22.5 million. Best case scenario, it's going to be something a bit over 20. So I think considering that amount and considering what we can get on the market nowadays, and if you look at the potential Lukumi has, and the fact that I've said this in previous pods, I've seen him play numbers of games already in Belgium when he was playing in Belgium, and for me, that's somebody who's going to be, if he can get his mind right, if he can gel with the team, is going to be a leader. And I think apart from all his technical ability, the mental aspect of having a leader is something that we lack on the pitch. And for him to potentially fill up that spot for not so much money, to me is great.
Mikey in the chat's assigning flavors to each one of our ratings. So
That's
yeah,
not bad.
so for, and I want to just hone in on one of these. He says that Lukumi gets 5 scoops of lemon. The best flavor. Is lemon the best flavor, Frederic? The people need to know.
Lemon, lemon is not the best flavor, Zach, as you know, because you had ice cream in Bruges,
I did. I did.
and I think arguably we had some better choices there. But if you like lemon and lemon's on top for you, then Lukumi is lemon flavored. And
I
I'm gonna
love.
stop with the scientific words now because I'm not sure if people can relate to everything I'm saying. But you love. Sorry, I interrupted. You
I
love.
love a bit of tartness. Okay, lemon is quite tart. As an ice cream flavor, though, I don't know. I can't, Mikey. I don't think I can agree. I got to be honest. My favorite ice cream flavor is strawberry.
I
Um,
love lemon sorbet. Like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
sorbet. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Especially summer evenings with a
Mm.
bit of watermelon on the side. Mm.
Or a little,
But
or those mini lemon tarts, like not a
oh,
big one, just
oh,
a small one.
or those soggy Italian lemon cakes. I don't know if
Oh,
you know. Oh, but
oh.
we digress.
Sorry,
We digress. We
sorry,
digress.
sorry, sorry,
Sorry.
sorry, sorry. Mikey has derailed the show. Let's talk about Jeff Eketor because, and I feel sorry for it. I feel sorry for the kid, but he might be the lowest ratings we've given a player on the Scoop Review ever. Um, an ability to finances to scoops out of 5 2. Um, from an ability standpoint, Frederic, I see a complete striker in there,
Mm.
but he is too young and too raw in from an ability standpoint and in the stage of his career to have joined Juventus, in my opinion. He did not. He played only sub minutes last year. Scored only 3 goals, mostly in garbage time. Um, and he really needs the opportunity to play in order to improve. And he's just not going to get the playing time at Juventus, and that makes me really nervous. Like I said, there is a really good player in there, a really complete striker, in my opinion, genuinely. But I just don't see him getting the playing time at Juventus simply because of the depth chart, as well as not wanting to put a player at his stage of his career on the field at Juventus and get the criticism of not being able to perform at the level that, frankly, Juventus players should perform. And for those reasons, I gave him a 2.
Well, also, if you look at it from a financial standpoint, it's still 18 million. You can say, well, 18 million in today's market is nothing. But he was our first transfer. And I might have felt a bit more at ease if we spent that money on, let's say, a goalkeeper, left wing back, something that was sorely needed. So the Ekator transfer as a whole doesn't make sense to me. And I can see him in the dying days of Mercato, especially if we get another striker in, uh, go out on a loan to get minutes in, which wouldn't be a bad thing. But then the question begs is why do you spend 18 million on your first signing in order to ship him off already? So the logic for me is not there. Um, let's see. Maybe we'll all be surprised, but I'm not so sure.
The chat says, bet for the future. Hope we can. That's what Il Capitano says. Mikey says, hope to turn a profit in 2 to 3 years. I think it's a matter of opportunity cost. If we had a lot of money, signing Ecator, putting him on loan to a Parma or a Monza or a Sassuolo or something, I think is genius. Or send him back to Genoa. Um, but we don't have unlimited money. We have a tight budget, and 18 million for a player who was not going to feature with us this year. Like you said, is money we could not spend on other positions. 3 positions, arguably, that we still need to fill. What, 5 days before the end of the market?
Yeah, yeah. And I want to
Vestman
reply to
asked, was
somebody.
it
Yeah,
last season's budget?
it
Uh,
it's not with last season's budget. It doesn't matter what budget it comes from. It matters on which balance sheet he is, and he's gonna be on the 26, 27 balance sheet, which is bad news for us because that balance sheet needs to be spick and span for UEFA. So that's why it doesn't make any sense to me. Of course, he might play garbage minutes in Coppa Italia, score a hat trick, and Aston Villa want to buy him for 70 million next summer. Then, hey, hurrah! But given the way that we're going about selling players, I wouldn't. That's not on my bingo card as for now. So it's done, it's over, let's see. And it doesn't matter when it takes place. You're even if it's before July 1st, your budget is allocated for transfers within, not from UEFA but within the club. until the end of the winter mercato. So your summer mercato, even if it's before July or whatever, everything that happens in the summer is on that budget. But it
For
could be that we had 18 million left from last season. That I don't know.
mhm.
I don't know that, but it's irrelevant because it gets into the balance sheet of 26, 27.
For Goatsy who's asking where's Kessie, we will be doing the transfer portion of the scoop after we get through our reviews, which we're doing right now. I think people are somewhat split on Ekator. People, a lot of them are quite optimistic in chat about him, and I have to agree. I've seen him play. In fact, when we brought him in, I think I watched almost all of his 900 minutes of Serie A. Just shows you what life I have. Uh, there is a good player. There is unequivocally a good player in there. He definitely needs a year, if not two. And I just, from where Juventus is, hard pressed to be convinced that that's the type of buy that we need to be allocating our money
Yeah,
towards.
but also if you look at, today's standards in that sense, if you score 2 or 3 goals already at a young age, you're already the new wonder kid, and people out of the Premier League offer you 30, 40, 50, 60 million. So in that respect, if you see somebody and you think that he's gonna get some minutes and score some goals, then the math does math. But I'll see it when I believe it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on to Boga. We did a scoop review of Boga, of his loan acquisition. This is us doing it for his permanent signing. From an ability standpoint, three, we know who Jeremy Boga is. He is a player that is very lively, very tricky on the dribble, high flair. He works hard. He really seems to have found a place in an environment at Juventus that he enjoys, and kind of contradicting his reputation as a low goal scorer, he was very productive for us last year in getting some key goals down the stretch. At the same time, he is not here to be a starter. And I think his toolkit and some of the flaws therein perfectly suit him for an ability rating of 3.
Yeah, and considering finances, we all know the ridiculous low amount we purchased him for, which is going to be written off after this season. I think it's the
Mhm.
first player in Juventus history that isn't a a free agent that gets written off after one season. It's as if you got him for a free. Also, his wages are not too bad. And in that case, he's very versatile, as you said. He might, although I wasn't too excited about his performances in the preseason and his match against Frosinone, but he could be, if he gets into shape, he could be very important to us, especially with Kenan being out now.
And I think with his production, just if we look at him with last year, it's a 5 out of 5 scoop acquisition because of his ability relative to the importance on the team as a bench player. And we've been so starved of quality off the bench, Frederic, having somebody you can rely on to actually come in and have an impact. And frankly, he did it at multiple positions, not
Hmm.
strictly his traditional left wing position, but he also played this false nine slash striker situation. And he came in and produced. To get a player who's comfortable with the role, who comes in with passion and ability and high performance, for to get as cheap as we did, that's 5 out of 5 scoops every day for me and
Yeah,
twice on Sunday.
yeah, yeah. Wholeheartedly agree with the algorithm.
Indeed. All right, we have not, and frankly, I haven't heard much anybody talk about our new backup keeper, Grabara. Um, Two ability.
Be careful with the term backup keeper, though.
Well, if I think that's a good point. I think starting right now, he came in to be, with a clear 1 Vicario, clear 2 Grabara. But that doesn't mean, and that's what I'm going to get into on the ability front, is he has spent uh, uh, he has spent portions of his career as a starter recently, and he was in Bundesliga 2. He was in, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, it was at Copenhagen, where I just was not too long ago. It was a lovely town. Um, and there is, as far as I'm concerned, and we have some folks from Poland in the chat, so correct me if I'm wrong, there's very much an open spot as a starting goalkeeper for maybe the first time in a very long time for the Poland national team, which I would hope he's throwing his hat in the ring on. So I think there's a starting goalkeeper there. There's incentive there. There's a new environment. It's just this will be his first opportunity to be a starter at a real powerhouse, big global team. And we've saw people who won the Europa League and Coupe, and other folks come in, starting Brazilian national team midfielder at that time, at least Douglas Luiz, come in and really struggle, and Di Gregorio come into the goalkeeper position, struggle. And I'm hoping that it's not too big of a move too quick. Too big of a move, I should say, not too quick. It's just too big of a move for a player new to the league.
Yeah, in terms of finances, it's 12 million if we buy him, and some chump change now to loan him, which in my idea is fantastic business. Not only because of the Perin exit, because it was Perin who set the Grabara transfer a go. And I don't have anything against Perin. If he wants to move, that's perfectly normal. If he wants to play as a starter, it's perfectly normal. The thing I'm very excited for is that we have two keepers on loan. So that means they'll each will do their utmost best in order to get that final transfer done, which means they not only compete with each other as every goalkeeper does if you're number one and number two, but they also compete with themselves in order to, get the best out of their performances to seal that contract, which to me, if you look at it with, in hindsight, is maybe better than signing somebody, forking over I don't know how many millions in terms of contract and in terms of transfer fee, and making him feel at ease. Now you have two keepers who need to prove themselves to the rest of the world and to each other. So I'm all for it, man.
I agree. The folks in chat, Mikey said it, Omasidio said it. They're relishing competition for the goalkeeper role, and I know some of the folks in our Turin Giants team and some other folks that we know in the community are very much against goalkeeper competitions. I am firmly in favor of competition at every position, goalkeeper included. And so I'm hoping it really fuels both of them to new heights. We absolutely need good goalkeeping play. We saw last year exactly what happens with what does not. I think at the end of the day, give him a 2 overall rating because his in my opinion, his performances have been a little bit
Wonky.
yeah, that's fine. I was gonna say bipolar a little bit, but he needs to be able to show composure within the league, within the team, within moments. And if he can do it, there's absolutely, just like with Vicario, who we're going to talk about here in just a second, a good goalkeeper there.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep. Camoranese says he's a good shot stopper, not good in the air. Vicario, I don't think is that great in the air either. Di Gregorio's not great in the air, and Perin, who's probably the shortest of the bunch by far, not great in the air either. Speaking of, I just want to take a second for Perin because he's now departed Juventus. Frederick, he's been on the books at Juventus, since I think 2018, so 8 years, give or take.
Yeah.
In that time, as strictly a backup goalkeeper, he racked up over 70 appearances for the club. And I guess I sit back and I wonder, for a guy who spent that much time, and frankly, 70 plus appearances for a backup goalkeeper is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm generally curious of what you think his legacy is amongst Juventus fans. And of course, he's not like a key player, but I think of legacy in terms of when he inevitably comes back to the Allianz, whether it be next year, say Palermo is promoted, or after he retires, he comes back to see a game. I give you 4 options. And people in chat, I'm curious what you have to say too. If he comes back, do you whistle him? Do you not pay attention to him? Do you applause him or do you give him a standing ovation?
3 and 4. Not because for what he's done, because he hasn't been the most prolific player in terms of getting us to victories or lifting up trophies. But he always tried to carry the jersey with respect. He always tried his utmost. There was never a foul word, not in the media or wherever. He was cool with that second place, and he sacrificed a part of him, I think, for the team because he knew that he didn't or couldn't make first keeper. And he said goodbye gracefully. And from what I could tell, from what my source tells me, is that he didn't force anything with the Palermo deal. He personally, not his manager, went to Massara and said, "Look, I have a team that's interested, and I really want to play because I'm in the fall of my career, and I really want to be a starting keeper. I know that's not going to happen with Vicario or somebody else. Is there a possibility I can leave on my terms without, a lot of fuss?" And they made it happen. And I'm pretty sure that Perin holds Juventus in his heart, and I think what he did with honor. So I'd applaud him.
I want to see how the people feel. We got about 90 strong in chat right now. I just created a poll. I know like Assam says applause. Juve says small applause. Unholy Fun's not going to pay attention. Um, um, well, put your thoughts. We'll see. We'll see. The options were on the poll are the four options I gave Frederic: standing ovation, just your standard applause. You're going to whistle him, or you're not going to pay attention. And while we do Celik and Vicario, you can fill that out, and we'll see where we stand on Perin. All right, Celik, ability. I've described him on the show several times as a control fullback. He's got very good positioning. He's a good defender. He's a good passer. And I think that's exactly the type of person you want to have on your team as a rotational fullback who can play both sides to fill gaps and make you competitive over the course of a season. He is not terribly strong going forward. He is not going to be banging in the perfect crosses all the time, making dribbles and being dynamic down the wing in that regard, which limits his overall ability, in my opinion. And I'm curious to see how he's going to perform if he stays at that starting left back position that I called. Frederic's going to tell us that management wants another left back, which tells me that there's concerns about his fit there long term. And again, with Kalulu on the right, who's sort of cemented his starting role. Not to say I don't dislike the competition. I just said I did. But I think there is not a situation where I would put Celik ahead of Kalulu, which made me think that I couldn't give him higher than a 3 in the ability. But because of his strong control nature, as I described it, I think he solidly deserves a 3 performance and ability. I really welcome him on our team to rotate it out, whether it be in the left or on the right sided fullback position.
Yeah, I agree. And financially, it also makes sense because he was a free agent at that time. So we had literally €0 to pay for his services. I think his wage is a bit on the, I'm not going to say expensive part because we have a Gatti earning 3.2 million. But I think overall the finances are just amazing. And it was after Ekator, I think our second transfer to get somebody in who knows Serie A, who's played Serie A at a high level for a number of seasons now. You have a good, solid player, no more, no less, but you reinforced the team and didn't spend a lot of money. So financially, for me, it's a 5.
At a position where last season we had, and I say fullback position, where you really only need one player to fill 4 spots. The starting left back, starting right back, and a backup for each. You really just had Kalulu. And you had whatever iteration of bottled entropy that is Cambiaso, which I'm not sure really counts. Cabal. Uh, with that in mind, if you have one player for 4 spots, getting in a guy who can play both sides and who can you can plug in any day, and you know you're going to get a competent performance, um, we give a 4. I think the reason why it's not a 5 is he's not a true left back, an area that we absolutely needed, and therefore he's going to end up being a rotational or backup right back. Um, and I don't think that's exactly why he joined us. So I kind of gave it a 4 with that regard, but I think he is going to be extremely useful and valuable player for us.
Yeah, agree.
Um, let's see here. See if there's anything. Azru says literal steal. A Chelik deal is. Masidio says hoping Chelik will turn out like Lichtsteiner. Um, Magnus agrees. Um, let's move on to Vicario. This is the last name on our scoop review list.
For
Oh,
now.
yes, for now, and then we're going to get into the potential transfers, folks. And I know a lot of people have asked about what's the deal with Kessie, so we'll get to that in just a second. Vicario ability. This one was a little bit tricky for me when I was doing it like Colomwani, because it's not in dispute that Vicario and Colomwani had horrible, horrible seasons last year. Whether it be injuries, whether it be form, whether it be production and performance, they had bad years. And I didn't want to strictly bias my ability score based on last year. Instead, looking at what kind of player they are, what are their attributes, and what are their ability they can bring. We know that um, sometimes players simply need a new environment in order to wash off whatever filth was on them from their previous team and refresh and restart. Vicario is and has been and improved it at Empoli, a fantastic shot stopper. He's also a very vocal goalkeeper. I think that's another thing that we've sorely lacked with Di Gregorio in there. Frederic is a goalkeeper that really seizes these defenders by the scruff of the neck, guides them and communicates with it. Doesn't have to guide it; just simply communicates with them to create a joint unit. Um, as opposed to D Gray, who was Mr. Whispers back there. I really like Vicario in terms of his shot stopping ability and communication. As said, he is weaker in the air, and he's not that confident with his feet. Not terribly concerned with that, to be honest. After what we saw last season, I'll take a goalkeeper that'll just boot it to the moon every time, just get it away from the goal, regardless, because of his performance last season and the fact that he does have these weaknesses in his game. I thought 3 out of 5 was an appropriate score for his ability.
Yeah, I agree. I rate him a bit more in the sense that he's always been a good goalkeeper. Last season was horrible, but I blame Tottenham more than I blame him in that respect. And if you look at the finances, once again, a good deal, a loan with a very cheap option to buy, which to me makes a lot of sense because in the previous years we bought mediocre players and we paid them a lot of money, not even salary wise, but also in terms of transfer fees. Now we're doing it the other way around. We try to redeem players by, getting them on loan, as we do with Vicario, as we did with Celik, who's a free agent. Kabara's on loan. Um, that's solid business in my opinion. So if he redeems himself and he proves himself, he could be a stayer, and we don't have to spend a lot of money in order for him to stay. If it doesn't work out, we'll ship him back to London and didn't lose any money over the deal. So regardless of your feeling or your judgment about Vicario, even just after one game, this is already a win-win situation, I feel. So I think it's very, very good.
Yeah, the chat is, and I want to first say thank Pino who joined us in chat for his gold coins and jewels that he sent us.
By
Chat's
the way, by the way,
Yeah.
can I interfere one moment?
Oh, here we go.
Because no. I just want to say big and massive shout out to people that send us coins and donations or whatever, because we have been monetized on YouTube, but that's a big word. But all these donations help us by keeping the lights on, because I don't think people fully appreciate on what costs we have in terms of making the reel, spending time, paying StreamYard and fees, which is also a subscription and whatever. And it helps us. It genuinely does help us to put it in the piggy bank and spread those costs. So I just don't want to skimp over it. And I'm really happy with this. It helps us. It helps us to create more content. So thanks to everybody, not only today, but in the past few episodes, dedicated and decided to throw us a bone, figuratively. It really helps the cause. So nothing but respect for that. And of course, by just watching, clicking
Mhm.
on subscribe on our YouTube and whatever, it really gets things going. And I couldn't be happier. And I just see one pop in again from Dragons 8. Thank you so much. It's not like I'm holding my head up to you guys, but it helps. It really does. And I'm glad that you feel the same way, because we wouldn't get any donations if they didn't, I think.
Yes, you say you're not, but was it a few episodes ago that you recalled the image of the cartoon Robin Hood with the cape on with the cup of alms for the poor? Well, I will say this. I will say this, and maybe I shouldn't now that Kevin has joined us in chat. But this podcast, maybe not on YouTube. This podcast is what 13 years old, and we have never, not once, in any month ever, turned a profit. So
Nope.
that,
Nope.
that shows you.
It's our money going down the drain. But we
For
love
you
it, and
guys.
we just hope, if we could keep the lights on and we could keep pushing out content. This is amazing. And I just wanted to thank you guys for it, because I truly feel that sometimes it gets taken for granted that the people who are listening now or listening later, watching now, reacting now, and donating now, are essentially a part of the show, and what helps us grow and makes us leave the lights on and whatever. So thank you guys.
So we'll stop the money talk in just a second. A couple people asked us about memberships, and there's two things I want to say about that, and then we'll transition from the scoop reviews to the players. So memberships, first and foremost, is the Discord. Now the Discord, when it will be beta form, so it's going to be free for everybody, but we will be rolling out a membership Discord portion of it for a small monthly fee, again, to sort of cover expenses on it. So stay tuned for that. That membership bit will have sort of exclusive access to scoop content. By the way, I think one of the things we were talking about was you get to see the list of players we're going to discuss before the episode. Frederick's going to put what he normally texts me well in advance of any scoop episode, or maybe not even being mentioned in a scoop episode, but way before guys like Fabrizio and Romeo post things. He's going to put that kind of stuff in there. So the idea is that we give you value for any money that you spend, and that kind of rolls into YouTube membership. Kevin, who's on here, myself and Frederic and Farhad talked a lot about YouTube membership, and we do not want to commit to a membership until we can ensure that we can give you value for whatever we're asking you to pay.
Yeah.
That's the important thing for us, is we really want to be fair to you guys. We know time is really valuable, your money is really valuable, and we don't want to just throw out a membership without being very transparent with you guys about this is what we're going to commit to each and one of you who's going to spend your time and money with us. So I think that's enough money talk. But we appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. Let's move on to players. We kind of buried the lead a little bit here, Frederic, doing the scoop reviews first before getting to the players. And most notably, and we can stop the slides here and look at our bald mugs.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Mine's not. Should have got more sleep, but it is what it is.
No, it wasn't necessarily to be overly dramatic and bearing the lead on Kessie. Why don't we just get to it? What is the update with regards to Franck Kessie joining the black and white?
We are negotiating now with his agents. At this point, we're trying to sort out everything that needs to be sorted out. I expect some details, because from what I could tell, we have an agreement with the player and his managers surrounding everything. So it's just points and commas at this point. Why is that? Because as you all read, Roma seemed interested, but it has been over dramatized in media because Roma can't afford him, wage base.
Hmm.
But there is a lot of serious potential from Saudi Arabia. I talked about that two scoops
Hmm.
ago, I think.
Hmm.
And the team, I don't know the team, so I'm not gonna burst out any names, but the team upped their bid yesterday. So Juventus, who were kind of waiting for Koopmeiners to get him sorted and get Kessie in, now thought it was time to accelerate because Kessie agency made it very clear, like, we don't like this waiting game, not knowing what we can do, whatever. So I think it was more of a general, hey, let's push, and the push is now there. And if everything goes like it's supposed to go, I'm pretty sure that it's 10 o'clock already. I'm not sure if we'll make midnight, but I'm pretty sure Kessie will be a Juve player late this night or tomorrow. There's a lot of rumors about him being on a plane over to Europe. I think our good friend Beppe was somebody who mentioned that. I'm not sure. Haven't got any confirmation, so I can't confirm that. What I do know is that they're really pushing for him, regardless if it's a gamble for management. So if they wanted to place Coop first, but now they're not waiting, and they're just moving along. In my opinion, you'll get Coop miners out at some point. If you don't, then you'll have to get them off the lists because we have too many players. So this is what it is. So stay tuned. If not, even while we're speaking, should be either tonight or tomorrow, from what they tell me.
Yeah, and that's and to be truly honest with everybody, because of the conversation, we were wondering whether that confirmation that he would sign would come through during this episode. And we're
Yeah.
like, you know what? We got to delay. We got to see if it comes in. We want to be ready to be able to report it if that comes in. Of course, it has not yet, at least through Frederick's phone. So we will
Nope.
let you know. And I think we loosely sort of block some time tomorrow if you want to have a short scoop tomorrow. Should
Yeah,
something
yeah,
come
yeah.
in, you might be seeing us again tomorrow, folks. So that's just an FYI, and that'll largely depend if things do progress in that regard or something changes.
I
Um,
should hope so.
yeah,
And it
yeah,
won't
yeah.
end with Kessie, I think.
And that's kind of what we're going to get into. Somebody asked in the chat, and I want to. Azaru asked about Roma. You mentioned that it's just a conflict with wage. Um, ah, Billy asks, "What's your opinion on Kessie?" I know I think we've generally talked about how he can, that he would be an improvement to our team. I don't think we've technically talked about it. I think let's maybe just take a quick moment, and I can kind of start. I think Kessie does two really important things for this team. I think one is it brings important depth to the midfield. So if your starting midfield is what Douglas Luiz, McKennie, Locatelli, and your bench player is, and whether you think that's good or not, that's just what it is. Then your bench players are Coop, Moretti. I mean, it was all but confirmed gone, but Coop, Moretti, Thuram, and that, especially if it's last season, Thuram is not encouraging at all. And so you really don't have much depth. You'll give Thuram chances and reps to get back into form and earn a starting spot. That's fine. And when you think about the complexion of those three starting midfielders, and we talked about it in the post game after Frosinone, they are not really working that well together. And so there is a lack of quality with some of those players and a lack of cohesion. So even in our starting players, there is weakness. Kessie, so that's sort of the first bit. Kessie brings physicality, technical ability, and he brings versatility to a midfield that, for the most part, lacks one of those three things, no matter how you stack it up together. And I think by virtue of that, he increases your quality. He increases the options from the coaching standpoint. I think with Kessie, you could genuinely play two-man midfield, which I don't think you can with our current team. And I look forward to the versatility and the quality he can bring to a midfield core that is really thin and at times, depending on how you set him up, has really lacked influence. Frederic, what's your
I,
take?
I agree, but the thing that you didn't mention, which I think is the most important aspect of a Kessie transfer, is the experience. He's
Hmm?
played a lot of high pressure games, a lot of do or die games at Atalanta, at Milan, at Barcelona, even, which was a bit of, the start point of his decline in European football. But he still has that experience. He knows how to fit into a dressing room. He knows how to fit into a team. He knows what, these do or die matches are all about. And more important, he knows how to get players motivated as well. He has that sense of leadership, that sense of, just call it, overall honor, not willing to let go and not willing to lose that easy, which is something for me that is lacking within this team in terms of mentality. And if you can bring those players in who have, apart from the technical ability and the utility and whatever, but they also have the leadership and the experience, that can only be beneficial. And of course, if we talk about finances as well, from what I'm hearing, it's a 4.5 net salary with some bonuses left and right. That's not too bad. And people are going to say, ah, but he played in Saudi Arabia, is out of shape. That might well be, but considering the state
Do
of
you think he was out of shape
our
in the World
foot-
Cup? Do you think he was out of shape in
not
the
in the
World Cup?
World Cup, but I saw a training video of him yesterday and he had some beers in him. He had some beers in him.
Yeah, I can
He was
relate. I can
he
relate.
was he was he was having fun this summer, but that's these professional football players, they shed that weight in like 1.5 to 2 weeks. But even without that, I mean, he's still a quality player and he's still somebody, as you can say, you could put anywhere in your midfield. He commands the team, he has that experience. And for those wages, I think, and that's my opinion, I don't want to be overly excited because you never know with this team. But I think on paper, this sounds like a smart deal. Especially, I like the fact that he was holding off other teams and he was desperate to join Juventus, specifically,
Yeah.
specifically Juventus, because he had interest from other Italian Serie A teams as well.
Mhm. You know what's crazy is that Kessier and Artur are the same age, and neither of them are 30. That's baffling to me.
You know what's even more crazier? That they're the same age. Neither of them are 30, and neither of them are in shape yet. And they're professional football players. That's even crazier if you think about it, in my opinion. But But like I said, I'm all for, especially, and I want to stress this because we're in a dire situation in our midfield. You
Yeah,
could tell,
yeah, yeah,
last game as well. We need something in there, some spark of,
yeah.
I guess, which brings just that. Of course, will he play 90 minutes? If we sign him tomorrow already versus Parma, probably not. He needs time to get in shape, whatever have you. But especially with Thuram not being 100%, and I doubt that Thuram will be 100% this season in terms of fitness. I mean, it's a good deal, especially with Miretti on the way out, and who's flying to Turkey tomorrow morning
Mhm.
for his medicals.
So there's a question I want to ask you about sort of Moretti, but in the interest of time, I think we're going to have about 15 more minutes based on our schedule.
Hmm.
So before we get into that, in the interest of time, let's walk through what we've got. We still need potentially a left back, a striker, and if Kessier doesn't come, a midfielder. Three positions. We still have Nico, who doesn't want to be here, but I think could absolutely serve a role in this team even before Yildiz' injury. We've got Coop, we've got Gatti, um, we got potentially Cambiasso, we've got guys like Cabal and Ugani. Um, why don't you walk us through starting with potential acquisitions, and then departures, kind of what approach management is taking over the next 5 days, and what maybe we can come to expect in terms of movement.
A lot of phone calling with intermediaries, seeing who's available. If we get a striker and I'm not considering Kessie at this point, but if we get a striker and a left wing back to replace Cambiaso or give Cambiaso a run for his money, because that's the whole idea about signing him. Then it'll probably be another loan formula with option to buy, not the biggest of names, but a very dual, versatile player. I know they're looking at somebody from Union Berlin. That intensified over the last day because Union Berlin might take somebody from us. But from my understanding, it's not a squad player of the first team. So I'm not sure where that will end, but they're talking to him. There's also still the dream about Raum, which is going to be difficult, but never say die until the final bell rings. And then the striker is a bit of an enigma in the sense that um, we move for a striker if we have the opportunity.
And
If
what do you
we
mean? What do you mean
don't,
by opportunity? Does that mean that the player has to be made available, or somebody has to leave, or both?
it's not necessarily up to like David. David doesn't. Well, it'd be nice if he left, and I think we'll probably get it done. Speaking about David, the contacts with Paris FC have intensified, which I reported over, I think, 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Have intensified over the last couple of hours, so we might get him out. But the idea is, if we send David out on a loan, we're not going to buy another striker. We're going to loan another striker. So the idea, of course, with Nico as well, was maybe Sorlat, but Atletico is what Atletico does, and they said, well, we want Sorlot on a final transfer, so give us 40 million, you can have him, which is never not going to happen. So we're kind of in the mix right there about thinking about who we can attract and who Spalletti likes. So it has to be some sort of middle ground, but nothing too costly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then about outgoings,
Well, hold on.
we have got
Let me
yeah,
interrupt before outgoings, because there's
yeah,
two
sure,
things,
sure.
and then we'll get into it. The first is, do you know the player? Which player from Berlin that we'd be targeting?
No, because my source texted me all kinds of nonsense. And he said, I think that's his name. I said, this doesn't make any sense. Well, it's some guy from Union Berlin. So
Well, that's helpful.
it's probably the left back from
Yeah, I was about to say,
but
it has to
I
be.
haven't even checked it. But it's that type of player. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 the same identikit as Raum, I think. And kind of, if you compare a bit, with regards to Cambiaso in his heyday, kind of that running back and forward, having a good pass, good cross, not necessarily being too elaborate in defense, but being somebody who can, shift play a bit, bring a bit of dynamism into, the left wing,
Mhm.
and interact with, if he comes back after a month or three,
Do,
which will
do,
be at least a month or three.
do you think
Yeah,
we really missed out on Mengesa? Like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, and the second thing I wanted to talk about before we let you talk about departures is related to departures. Once upon a time in this episode, I did a poll about Mattia Perin. He, of course, left after 8 years, 71 sub appearances for us. And I asked, how will you welcome him back? The choices were applause, won't pay attention, standing ovation, and or whether you will whistle him. Well, we got 74 votes in, which I think is a fantastic number. And this is how it goes: 0% said they would whistle him. 14% said they would give him a standing ovation. 19%. Okay, there's two options, Frederic: applause or won't pay attention. Who do you think of the last two? Who do you think won between applause and won't pay attention?
Won't pay attention,
You think won't pay
19%.
attention? Oh, not won't pay attention. You are correct. Won't pay attention 19%, which means that 68% will give him a respectful applause when he returns to the Allianz. And I have to agree. He's the type of player who has spent a lot of time in a club. I think and I don't want to rehash your speech, Frederick, because I think it was quite eloquent and hit the nose right on the head. Who did a lot in our shirt. So would fit myself into a respectful applause for the contributions that Mattia Perin did as part of our team, as part of the black and white, and on the pitch. And
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that, departures, Frederick.
Yeah, about the central positions. Either Gatti goes or Rugani goes. My money's on Rugani going because Gatti, the day before yesterday, rejected a bid from a Premier League side, which kind of infuriated Massara in that sense because he was hoping for that last minute bid and that he would accept and it would bring us some money in even. But he didn't want to hear about it. So my bet is on Rugani to leave. We have Parma interested. We also had Udinese literally 5 minutes ago pick up the phone and ask, can we do something with Rugani? So one of the two goes. And my money now is on Rugani. We're still pushing Koopmeiners and David, not out the window, but we're almost there. We really desperately want to get them off. As I said with David, contacts with Paris FC have intensified. Koopmeiners is very difficult in the sense that it's hard to find a good destination for him. Koopmeiners is very no, but
There's a few
not
Sunday league. There's a few Sunday league teams down
the
here.
the thing with Koopmeiners is he regrets his Juventus decision because it was a step too high, especially in the mental front, and he doesn't want to experience that again. So he's really checking which team can, provide him a good symbiosis of having him regaining his confidence and being a football player. Of course, we're forced to do it on a loan. That doesn't inspire as much confidence into him either. So it's going to be a pickle. But from what I hear, if we don't find a team for him, he's off the Europa League list
Hmm.
as well.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. I mean, that's
so,
assuming that. I mean, that the assumption there is that we have a roster so big as to warrant an exclusion of players. Is that true?
you'd assume if you have Kessie, you also still have Thuram on the back burner. I mean,
Mhm.
numerically, you're set. Numerically, you're set, and you'll have to make a choice.
Hmm.
And I think at this point, if you have to give the list at September 2nd for the Europa League or whenever it is, and you have Kessie in, you'd rather much include Kessie instead of Koopmeiners if you have to make that call. Even Thuram instead of Koopmeiners for Spalletti. So, we're going to push him. We're going to hope that we can find something. Um, I still think that we'll be able to find a solution. I still think that. Nico, a lot of things have been said about Nico picking up Yildiz's place, whatever. Um, Spalletti really wants to have him. Nico doesn't want to stay, but Juventus were
Yeah.
very firm with Atletico. You can have him, but on our terms. And they said the same to Nico as well. And Nico's hellbent on joining Atletico again. From what I could tell, he's constantly texting the coach. Okay, that's all fine and well, but we need, not to lose money on Nico. He's a World Cup finalist. If he wants to leave, fine. This is what we want. If not, we'll be happy to keep him. And I'm not saying we'll automatically play him because I feel, and I'm not Spalletti, but I'd have more confidence in launching Alajbegovic instead of.
He just got back anyways. So I wouldn't expect him to start right off the bat anyways because he just rejoined the team within the last week.
Yeah,
So I would expect that there'd be at least another week of getting up to speed. Maybe a substitute appearance if need be, but certainly not till the end of the market because he's made his opinions known, and you don't want to play a player like that. So I wouldn't expect him to start right off the bat anyways.
yeah. And then, of course, you have to take into account what's going to happen with Julian Alvarez, El Atletico. He's been stomping his feet and threatening to go to FIFA for whatever reason. And I'm not sure what's happening there. So if he's out, then they lose a striker. And for me, and Nico Gonzalez in shape and being somewhere that he likes is always an advantage. And from what I could tell from my source, he feels that Atletico are playing a bit of bluffing, as
Yeah,
Mutoki.
that seems clear to me. I think
And
this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, and then we'll get to
but
maybe the last question.
Masara's not bothered. We sell him on our terms, or he stays.
So a lot of people, when we were talking about Ali Begovic's signing during our scoop review section, Dragon and Vincenzo are echoing it here, are wondering or maybe concerned that Ali Begovic is not going to get a lot of minutes. And so I guess maybe we'll end with the question, what would you do with Yildiz being out?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think Spalletti will do
Hmm.
relative to Nico, Boga, Alebegovic, and a vacant spot to left wing position?
If I'm Spalletti, if I know Spalletti,
Well, no, what would
he'd
you
rather.
do? What would you do, Frederick?
What would I do? I'd
Yeah, who
launch
would you
Ale
play?
Begovic,
Okay.
but not on the left wing. I'd maybe give him the first couple of games as a left winger because he feels comfortable there. And then I'd ease him into the role of the number 10. And maybe have him play, one half as a number 10, one half as a left winger, something in between, maybe more a free role between the left winger and the number 10 spot. That's what I would do. Just to get him minutes, get him used to the league, get him used to the opponents, whatever, and then start, molding him as your trequartista that you want.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my bet.
So what's
I think
Spalletti going to do?
Spalletti's going to ease him in with garbage minutes and let McKennie play on the wing. If I know Spalletti.
I'm with Il Capitano. I would start Ale Begovic. Spalletti will start Boga.
I'm not sure if he'll start Boga. He's not too happy about Boga.
Well,
he's not too happy about Boga.
Right off the bat. I mean, we don't have the midfielders to move McKennie to the left wing position. If anything, he'll put Cambiaso there. God help us.
Mamma mia, that's the stuff of nightmares.
But it. He's played Cambiaso as a winger before. Unless there's a fitness concern with Boga, I think Spalletti plays it safe. Starts Boga against a Parma team who, let's be real, you have to respect every opponent. You have to respect every opponent. Parma's going to struggle this year to score goals, in my opinion. Getting rid of Pellegrino, who was very much the one-trick pony that they needed as a striker, big guy to knock in head balls and be physical in the box. I don't think they have a replacement for him. I think they're going to struggle to score goals, which means that we're going to get more opportunities. And putting, I think, Ale Begovic in a game like that could only benefit him. But I expect Spalletti to play it safe and to go with Boga.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Juve since 94's laptop says don't start with Cambiaso. We won't. We will leave Cambiaso to another episode of the scoop or whatever it might be.
And Locatelli.
Yeah, no, we're not getting into that today. Our last episode, the Frosinone postgame was the comments were all going on about it. There was some heated debate in that one. And based on the comments, people were here for it, Frederic. They loved it. No such debates today. We're going to be letting you go. But if something happens, you will see us here tomorrow.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
Either at 2:00 Central, 9:00 Central European time, or 3:00 Central, 10:00 European Central time, depending. So be on the lookout for that notice. If not, we already have our post-game link set up for Parma. Kevin will be at that game, so we're going to be able to phone him in. You get some Allianz Stadium side reactions and commentary, as well as the crew. I will not be there, but as the crew breaking down the game as well. So you can go ahead and put notifications. And I will get off my lazy butt and schedule the September 1st episode. Reminder, September 1st episode will be the official scoop review of Carnevale's performance. It will be the official launch of the Turin Giants Discord beta, which Frederic has been working really hard on, and it looks good, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited for it. And 3, maybe most importantly, no offense to Discord, We need your help, ladies and gentlemen. We were getting a video made, an intro video for the Scoop videos, and we were asked, what logo do you want to use? The original one or sort of the pink one with the ice cream scoop? And we did not know. So during the September 1st episode, you will vote on which logo we should use moving forward, and we will honor the people's opinion.
Yep.
So that will be a poll that will be run up, and we will have throughout that episode. So please join us there, help contribute to that decision. And as to the Discord bit, somebody said, what about Discord? Yes, we're launching our Turn Giants Discord. Got all these cool channels that we're gonna test out. It is the beta phase. We're gonna test things. We're not super sophisticated on this, so there might be some kinks to work through, and we'll sort of do that together. And we'll take a very short, maybe 2 minutes during that episode, just to show you how to access it if you're new to Discord. We'll explain why Discord as opposed to Telegram or WhatsApp, and we'll kind of give you the sort of the quick rundown for those new, that you guys could just go back and watch that video as sort of your tutorial if you're new to it, and then we'll sort of move on.
Yeah.
Okay, Frederick, did I miss anything?
You were very eloquent and you covered all the bases. Thank you for so much, Zach.
Well, I thank you. I thank everybody who stayed with us throughout this episode. A lot of fun. Stay tuned to the Scoop for any changes in players, any new additions. We will do their Scoop reviews in a more timely manner, Frederick, over the next week or so. And other than that, I guess talk to you guys again either tomorrow or this weekend. Until next time, everybody, thank you again, Frederick. Thank you as always.
Thank you, guys.
And until then, Forza Juve, y'all.